So today we have Justin Krueger. We talk business, life, homeschooling, and just becoming the best version of yourself. You don't want to miss this. So I want to welcome a good acquaintance of mine. I'd like for him to be my friend, but we'll work on that. Justin Krueger, a father, husband, entrepreneur, owner of Icon, and many other things. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So I'm glad you're here today. We've done some work with you in the past, a couple of jobs. We actually worked on your office.
Yep.
Right? And it's a really nice office. Super nice, good area.
You guys did pretty good. No, just kidding. You did a great job.
We did all right.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't get the last part of it, though. You kind of give that to someone else, your club.
Oh, dude, that's pretty sick spot.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that too. So Justin, usually I like to start out with, what got you here, to where you're at. Everyone sees who you are today. You're killing it. But who was the Justin when he was a kid, and what got you here? What was the route that got you to where you're at?
So I grew up in Wisconsin, which, the old Midwest work ethic, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the not the best student, in school. So barely got out of high school, and I was kind of dreamt of owning businesses. And I don't know if you remember what year was that? 97. I graduated high school. There was this guy. He had infomercials. His name was Carlton Sheets, and it was like the 1 a.m, infomercial. This guy sitting on the ocean talking about how you can buy all this real estate with no money, and so I saved up $200 to buy his kit, and it didn't work, but it got me pretty motivated to start getting into real estate. And really, I think that kind of is what kicked it off. And I always could work hard. I could outwork just about anybody, and just surround myself with some good people, and kind of made my way. Made a lot of mistakes along the way. Learned from them all. Had a kind of a defining moment. 2005, I moved to Arizona from Wisconsin, and it was really kind of a start over period for me. A couple years prior to that, I had done really well out of nowhere. So I worked at a factory out of high school. Met this guy. He's like, "Hey, I know construction, and you got a little bit of money from working." I was at a factory, but they'd let you work seven days a week. So I'd work 7 days a week, time and a half.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of rental properties. All my friends were out partying and camping and whatever. And I'm painting my apartments that are up for rent.
Yeah.
And so I missed a lot, grinded hard, and so got into construction with this guy. Somehow, within a year and a half, we were building indoor water park hotels.
Wow. That's in Wisconsin?
Yeah. And I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So somehow at the age of, probably 24, probably made close to $1 million.
Nice.
And 2 years later, lost it all. Had to sell all my rental properties, and then had a big fat tax bill because I didn't have enough money to pay the taxes. So kind of came out to Arizona. I had a good buddy of mine lived in Scottsdale, and I'd come hang out with him, and always loved it here. And so and nothing to lose, I'd already lost it. So I came down, borrowed some money from my parents. I rented a bedroom from somebody on roommates.com, and kind of the rest is history.
So you were 24 when you came to Arizona, about 25, 26?
26.
Yeah, 26. And so you're 26, you come to Arizona, you get back. How did you get back? So you were doing the building almost like a hotel apartments or whatever.
Yeah, we owned a framing company.
Yeah.
And the guy who I'd met at the factory, who will remain unnamed, but he was great at framing and just general construction. Learned a lot from him on that side.
Yeah.
Business wise, I had no idea what I was doing. Like to think I did, but looking back, I didn't. And he clearly did not either. And so, just through we had a really great year, like year and a half out of the gate, and really it was a downfall from there. And he'd done some things that weren't super ethical, and I was young enough where I didn't check certain things out, and Fast forward, it was a pretty fast collapse after that.
So when you're here in Arizona, you're 26, and how do you get back into the same game here?
I just came down. I got a job with the National Home Builder, and I was a superintendent.
Okay.
Frankly, I loved it. It was cool. I was first. My first tract, I was the first one there and the last to leave every day.
Hard work.
Pays
off all the time.
And then I switched home builders and got promoted to like area manager.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of the 05, 06 boom. So houses were going up just everywhere, uncontrollable. So that was pretty nice and learned a lot, met a lot of great people. And obviously then the slowdown happened, So I'd been doing pretty well. I had been renting a room from somebody. Me and her were good friends. And then I moved in with a buddy of mine. We split a condo, and pretty fast forward, I had a kid on the way, unmarried at the time.
Yeah.
And so had to get serious and grow up a lot.
So the economy starts to tank. At what point did you actually get back into? So you part of what you do, Icon, you guys renovate apartments.
Yep.
Or I think you're building some too as well. Like
yep.
I thought I seen a bid invite for some new builds, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yep.
But I know you're doing a lot of renovation, a lot of government type renovations. So how did you actually get into that space?
That's a pretty funny story. So home building came to a pretty screeching halt there in 07. They moved me into customer service. Went through 3 rounds of layoffs. I didn't get laid off, but it got pretty miserable, So I made a move. I was remodeling Wendy's restaurants at night when they closed. So 10 o'clock roll in, they'd shut down. We'd do our work, go to bed in the morning. Had a 6-month-old at home, and so wasn't the most ideal lifestyle.
So you were doing that for someone else?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I was just a contract employee.
This is what, 09, 08, 09?
That was probably 07.
07?
07. And then through a Craigslist ad, I got a project manager position at the company that I now have.
So it was MFRG?
At the time, it was Icon Builders.
Oh, Icon Builders.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that was in 2000. I started there first week of January 2008.
So Icon Builders.
Yeah.
Is that here locally?
Yeah, I was in Scottsdale.
Okay, so they were always in Scottsdale.
Yep.
So 08, you started Icon Builders, and you already have some construction experience by this time, right? You've already owned a business by this time, and so what are the thoughts going through your head as you get this job? Is it like, hey, I got to be an entrepreneur again? Is it I got to just take care of my baby?
It was survival mode then,
Yeah.
I mean, the economy was going down. I think I had to borrow a mortgage payment from my parents the month before.
Yeah.
And so I had to make it work,
I hope
and
you pay them back, bro.
I did. Yeah. My parents are in a good position. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of stretched the truth, I guess, a little bit on my interview. But again, one thing I know how to do is work hard. Mm-hmm. And so I just absorbed, I listened, jumped in, made some mistakes, learned from them, did the same, just rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. And so you're in, so you're doing the apartment renovations, right? In
Yep.
Arizona, California.
At that time, we were only working in California. So living in Arizona, I'd fly out almost every single week. So I was in California every week, obviously with a newborn at home. Mm-hmm. My wife was staying home with him.
You finally married her by this time?
Well, fast forward, married, but at that time, still no.
Okay.
And so we were still, I was growing up. I had some growing up to do.
Yeah.
And so it took some time, but thankfully she stuck with, and I didn't do anything terrible. I just was very selfish, So just growing up, how it goes. You have children, they kind of throw you into fast forward mode.
You have to
growing up.
You have to grow up. Yeah. There's you got to do something to feed them no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grinded. In my opinion, I thought that's where I wanted to be the rest of my life. The feeling of, at the time I remember how big we were doing, probably doing 7 or 8 renovations a year, maybe 700 to 900 units a year. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. You get hugs from people when they move back into their apartment, I mean, they just they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it was rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of, I was finishing our project in San Diego, and we're at the grand reopening, and this woman came up, and she's like, I grew up here as a kid. I now live here with my children, and this is the first time this property's been safe. My kids have a soccer field. You know, we gated it. I mean, it was just, and she was just sobbing on my shoulder, you know, and that's when it grabbed me, and I've been hooked ever since. And that was in 2009.
You know, like make people feel better, to give them a new purpose. And was this mostly back then the government housing programs?
Yeah, it was all affordable housing. Yeah.
Yeah, affordable housing, California, but it's. I mean, like it's like a breath of fresh air for them, because you figure they're getting free housing, or it's real cheap, right? But the government don't care, right? And nobody else does, right? So they're living in like the worst environments.
Well, the government doesn't necessarily have a ton of control over it, you know. So there's for-profit
because
developers that own them,
yeah,
and then there's nonprofits that own them. You know, historically, nonprofits seem to be a little more responsible, as far as long-term operating.
The government's supposed to inspect them, though.
They do once a year.
Criteria, right?
Yeah, they call it a REAC inspection. But nonprofits, when they buy a property, they plan to own it literally forever. And so they don't have an exit plan, and so I feel like they manage and own a little different. For-profit developers probably going to have an exit plan at some point.
So
not their slumlords or anything like that, but everybody does it different, and there's some things we see that aren't that great.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to be able to change that.
Yeah. So you guys are doing what'd you say, about 700 units, 800
at the time?
units?
Yeah, that was 08. Oh yeah, 08, 9, 10.
Was it like 30 million at the time or something?
Yeah, probably that. Maybe the hair over.
Yeah. And then so you're working your way up to the top. How does that look?
So here's what I did. I mean, dinner time was at 6:00. My house is 15 minutes from the office. I was home for dinner at 6. My son went to bed at 8. I was back at the office by 8:30, and I worked till 11 midnight. Yeah. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
See, that's something people need to take away is you got to get it done. You do what it takes to get it done. Especially, I was telling a young lady yesterday at the chiropractor office, and she made a comment, and I was like, listen, don't worry about chasing all this money. It'll come. Just learn and get that position, get that next position. You're going to learn. If you chase the money, your boss is going to end up wanting to stop pay you. You know what I mean? But if you try to get that position, it garners the pay, Well,
I just love grinding.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what you're going to get out of it.
Right.
Like, you're going to get more no matter what. You put in more, you get more.
Yeah. Yeah. It was noticeable, and I was rewarded, and I learned a lot. I had a great mentor who owned the company, and I wouldn't be in this sea without him, and we had a lot of great years together. And in 2012, I wanted more, and so I approached him about it, and wasn't open to what I had in mind, and so I found a capital partner, and I left and went head to head. So I did that from end of 2012. We sold in 16, and it's kind of weird starting a business from my living room. Some days I'd play the PlayStation because I had nothing to do, and some days I'd be out looking at a project.
So you were with Icon Builders from 09, basically 09, something like that.
Yeah, to 12. I think pretty much like July of 2012.
So say 3 years. You're learning. You were right there, right underneath the main guy. Basically being mentored, but you wanted more. He's like, I ain't having it. And then you go find an equity partner. What's the name of the new company you start?
It was somebody else's company, and then we started a new division.
Okay.
So me and him. So that was United Renovations.
United Renovations.
And our division was United Renovations Specialty Group.
So 2012, you joined United Renovations. Something like that, right?
Yep.
So you're at United Renovations. Well, how does that look?
Yeah, so like I said, it was a slow start, and fast forward through 4 years, and we were doing, I think we did 38 million a year.
So now you're competing.
Yeah, 38 million a year, and had about 32 employees at the time when I left the company.
And so you left them in 2006. or 16.
16. Yep.
So what was next? This is interesting.
I was gonna do kind of friends and family stuff, and I didn't get like a huge payout, but that was building a company is not easy.
Yeah.
And so I think I just needed a little bit of time, and pretty short after, got a call from my old mentor, and
the same icon guy.
Yeah. And so, it was like one of those friends you haven't talked to from high school in like a couple of years, and you catch up and like you just pick right back up. And I'd flown up to Wisconsin, shut my phone off for a week, went fishing, just kind of catch my breath, and turned it on. I had a voicemail from, his representative who I knew exactly as soon as I saw the voicemail what it was about. And
He was ready.
yeah, we connected, and it took a little time, but flew back, got together, had some meetings, and kind of talked about teaming up. And so
when I met you, and I met you heard of your company, the company, it was MFRG Icon.
Yeah.
What's the MFRG?
So I started a company called Multifamily Renovation Group, and I was just going to be, maybe one or two projects a year. That was my plan. And now we're doing like 25 a year. So that didn't last too long.
Yeah. So you started MFRG, like 2006, 17, something
Yeah, it's a joint venture. Yeah, so it's 2017.
Who MFRG 2017. Yeah, because I met you probably around that time.
Yeah, 17 or 18. So we
Because you
started
guys
talking
were,
about. You did that Phoenix project for us.
Yeah,
Yep.
you guys weren't even here really yet. Like, is it the first one? Was that the first one?
It was dang close.
Yeah.
It might have already been in underway when I stepped in.
Oh, possibly, yeah, because I didn't know you.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know anybody, but I didn't know of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right, because it was Icon only, then it changed to MFRG Icon, and I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
And you had good, Augie was out there.
Yeah. Augie's a stud. He's still with us.
I know.
Yeah.
I see him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you join in, so your boss is like, hey, he's seen something in you, obviously, before. And he's like, this guy's ready. He went off and learned, and I didn't have to pay for him to learn.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So it's like, I want to get him now that he's better. So you join, I mean, you guys just joint venture on things.
Yeah.
Did you actually join companies, or did you just do joint ventures?
So our companies remain separate, but we had a joint venture, and all new business went through the joint venture.
Yeah. And so eventually you bought them out. Is that how it looks?
Yeah. It's been about a year. And, we'd kind of pre-negotiated all that originally, from 2017. And so, it was last August.
Yeah. And now it's just, Icon National now?
Yeah, we rebranded in January to Icon National. The hyphen and all the letters was probably not the best move. And, we got more of a national presence now. We were originally just working in California, and we're in 8 states now.
It's so true with the name, I'm friends with RG at Global Roofing. I don't know if you've heard of them. And his dad started Roofing Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same thing so they were killing it in like 4 states, right? And he was telling me the story. He's like, so he went to Northern, sharp young man, And so he was telling me the story. He's like, hey, we were trying to branch out. And we go to the East Coast, and they're like, I thought you're
Southwest.
Roofing Southwest. What are you doing over here? Like, making fun of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they found a small company here, happened to be in Arizona, called Global Roofing. And they bought them. I don't know what they paid. They probably paid 20 times the value, you know what I mean, for the name. And he said, as soon as we got that name, it was game on. 30, 40 states, pop, 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 just like that. So, like, the branding, the national branding, it's tremendous. It's a great move.
Yeah, we hired a marketing company to kind of go through it all, and just felt right, sounded right, and here we are.
Well, and you're moving in that direction, so yeah, you might as well. I mean, national brand. If you're in, I mean, a word of advice is, if you're not going national, don't call yourself national, right? Just call yourself local.
Well, I don't know if I naturally want to be in every state in the country, but
but you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Right. And that's about being national, is you're going across the nation however you choose.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I'm probably licensed in 20 states or so, but I mean, we don't do business in all of them right now.
What states are you in right now?
California is our biggest market.
Yeah.
Arizona, Colorado, Montana, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee.
So you're kind of going up that belt type thing.
Yeah, and Utah. We're doing deals in Salt Lake.
Okay. What so are they all the same? The government housing, is it still the same model?
It's all affordable housing. Yep,
Yeah.
100%. So we probably do. I think we did over 3,000 units last year. So
That's
I mean,
pretty
it's
good.
cranking.
Yeah. And how many employees do you have now?
Just under 100.
100.
Probably like 96.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot to people, but you have a lot of like high paid employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's not like they're just laborers, you know.
Yeah. Well, I get pumped up to wake up and realize I got a lot of people that count on me. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
It's a grinds.
What's your payroll? About 400,000 or about 400,000 a week. Is it that high?
It's about 13 million a year.
Yeah. Okay. There it is. $1 million a month. Oh, so I was close. I said 400,000 a week.
Yeah. I guess I never really looked at it by the week. You know?
300, 350 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 300 a week. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's a blessing, right?
It is.
I mean, you've been entrusted with all this, right? Could have been anybody else,
I'm a pretty blessed man.
right? So you're killing it. You're cranking out jobs. What do you do? What do you do like for fun now these days? Are you still working the same thing? Are you going home, going back to the office, or how does your life look? You know, obviously you're doing much better and you're in a better position. How does that look?
Well, I got a great leadership team, you know, and so I pride myself on life's all about who you surround yourself with. I don't care if it's in high school or in work or, you know, if you play sports, you know, it's who you surround yourself with. And got a great leadership team, and we got just an overall pretty special team. People that actually have a purpose and a desire to help others, which is different than chasing the paycheck, you know. And, you know, there's of course a handful of those. And that's okay. You know, it's all good. But, you know, listen, I can take off and not have to sweat. You know, I could get hit by a truck tomorrow and the company would survive. And that makes me feel pretty good. But I mean, only because I love working. It's probably not a day that goes by that I don't do something in the company. Generally spend my summers in Wisconsin. So
Okay.
I flew back last night, and you know, it's kind of nice to snowbird it, get out of the winter or get out of the summer here and go to where it's like 75.
You flew back last night to stay here for the rest of the winter time?
Just this week. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should I feel special? You flew in for me?
Well, you and I got a meeting with the city tomorrow.
Yeah, not you, bro. You're a byproduct. So like what's some of your biggest failures, you know, and whether it's life or business, you know, because everyone who's listening, they're learning right now, you know, and you know, you're telling them how you started and where you went, and it's all cool, but you know, we know you lost $1 million. We know, what are some big failures where you're like, man, don't do this?
This could take a long time.
Well, we have them, right? You know, and it makes people feel good when they hear other people's failures. It's you know, because it's like, oh, they're in the same boat.
Well, I screwed up a lot of stuff, you know, personally and professionally, you know. So, I mean, yeah, I didn't really get out of high school that well. I had a 1.7 cumulative.
That's pretty good,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, it's a D plus average.
Right?
So
that's
pretty,
really good.
Pretty exciting. In fact, somebody on my team, I came back and they had put a fake high school diploma. So congratulations on your 1.7 cumulative GPA. And it was like in a frame on the wall by the awards. And it's still up there. I left it. I thought it was pretty funny. But, man, you know, failure wise I was kind of, you know, I was like the neutral kid in school. You know, I kind of got along with everybody, and, you know, I was kind of battled weight, and, you know, I just want to get along, you know, and so sometimes I tried too hard to kind of try to fit in with certain people or do certain things. And the biggest mistake you can do is that, you gotta be yourself. And it took me a while to find myself, you know, cause I was wanted, not really popularity, but like just to kind of be noticed, you know, and it took a long time, but it's funny now. I don't really care about being noticed. In fact, I prefer not to be, you know, but, did a lot of, you know, dumb things trying to make that happen back in the day. So that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
You know, and then not really, now I look back, it's easy to understand it, but the whole surround yourself with the right people, and because you become an average of that, and and there's nothing more truer, and so I was rolling with some people that I probably shouldn't have from time to time. That was a big mistake, but mistakes, as long as you know how to learn from them and not make the same mistake again, makes you stronger, and that's how I live my life.
Yeah. I mean, you're product of your environment. That was my biggest downfall was, well, I grew up, I was, born in the projects, and I only went to the 8th grade. But I was a product of my environment, and I was a really smart kid, smarter than everyone else, but I wanted to be cool, and that's all I knew. I seen drugs being done, and all these bad things, and that's what I thought it was cool. It wasn't until I was older, till mid-20s, early mid-20s, I'm like, man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I just wasted, I did drugs from 13 to 23, and it was like a whole waste, and, thank God I changed, thank God you didn't make crazy mistakes, because you wouldn't be here.
Right.
And you have 3 kids now, correct?
Yep, 3 kids.
Same woman. She put up with you early on.
She did. She's a champ.
I'm sure she guided you.
Well, I met her when, I moved to Arizona and $300 to my name, and so like she knew me at my worst, and not to say we're at our best, but like, the amount of appreciation that goes into the path to get to where we're at these days wasn't easy. A ton of sacrifices, a lot of frustration, and really it's a responsibility of making sure we can carry everybody, through. Yeah.
And she's making probably the biggest sacrifice, because I'm married, right? And I know, like, my wife, like, I'm gone working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and she's, she works too, but she's got to go home. She's got to go figure out the home life. I have to just work kind of type thing, you know what I mean? And so she makes the biggest sacrifice. So I'm sure it's the same with your wife. It's like this ultimate sacrifice, raise the kids, raise you.
Totally. Well, she calls me her biggest kid.
Right. And she's got to keep the home in order and still probably do a lot of other things.
Well, she works in the company.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So it's just like your wife, know, and we had to make a rule. Like, we can't come home and talk about work, because we used to when we first started. And then real quickly we're like, all right, we're going to definitely be divorced. so we stopped. And sometimes it's like, if I have something to say, she's like, am I talking as your wife or as human resources? Because, we don't cross that line. I mean, I can tell when something's going on and she won't tell me, and I probably might be better off not even knowing.
Yeah, so just keep it amongst who needs to know within the company.
Keep it completely separate, which is good because she's really good at that, and probably not.
No, it's good that you're saying that, because I feel like that's a big battle with married couples, or not married couples, just couples in general. Going into business together, it's a legit struggle you have to get past. People do not realize it, because they'll see us, and I'm sure it's the same thing with you and your wife is, oh, that's so cool, you guys are doing it and this and that, and you're like, you have no idea. One is you got to both work really hard. I'm sure you don't want her to, but at the points early on, you needed her to.
Yep.
Right. And then you fight and the struggle, and she sees things and hears things, and you hear things and all these weird things. And people look at you now and they're like, oh, that's so cute. And you're like, you have no idea. And then they want to do it, and you're like, good luck. You know what I mean? Right.
Well, we started, when we started in 2017, new company. I mean, it was probably 10 hours a week for work for her, and it's perfect because, she's been helping stay home, raise the kids. Well, nothing's 10 hours anymore, so I mean, she works over 40 hours. I've worked 50 to 90 hours every week since 2008 probably, and I do I've gotten a lot better at, I don't think there's a balance of work life. I think it's a blend, and everybody's blend is a little bit different, but I've prioritized it, like weekends, phone down on, do not disturb. That's for good. A few hours at a time, so I can like concentrate on certain things. And then, you got to make sure there's nothing on fire, and you go back to it. And, some good vacations. You know, the two littles are getting older now. They're 4 and 6, so it's getting a little easier. But the last couple of years, when they're young, and then we had a pandemic, was a little challenging.
Yeah, and you got to take the kids with you, and there's no alone time, and you got to try to find a babysitter.
Well, we're pretty blessed. We got my mother-in-law, and holy cow! I mean, I don't know what we do without her. She's the rock for the family, because like it's busy, because we're in multiple states, so I'm on an airplane probably every week. Our oldest is 16, so he's a huge help with the kids. I mean, he's got car seats in his car. He's 16. I don't know if that's normal. I mean, it's normal in our house.
I think it's normal.
Okay, good, because he's like an adult, so he's just a huge help. So
that's what you want.
We got a good support staff.
Yeah. No, it's good. We always tell people, like, get your kids driving fast, because they're going to be able to help you. You're only being a detriment to everybody. Like, get them to help you, because it gives them a sense of responsibility, right? I mean, he's learning all these things early on, instead of just sitting playing freaking Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah, he's the only 16-year-old dad in the world, according to him, that doesn't have social media. So we keep him off. He's a hardworking kid. He stayed homeschooling after COVID. And in fact, we're homeschooling our first grader now, who was homeschooled last year as well. But I mean, schools are it's a little different these days.
Well, public school sucks.
Yeah, it's
terrible.
Yeah, we're not fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some safety issues, there's some social issues, and I think school-wise, I want my kids to be champs and be winners and learn how to win and be accountable and learn from their mistakes. And school's a participation trophy scenario now, and I don't want my kids to participation awards.
They're not,
I want them to earn it.
Yeah, you don't learn anything from being handed it. It's like you said, there's competition is healthy. As long as no one's getting hurt physically. Unless it's a fight, a competition. But yeah, it's terrible. The homeschooling, it's great, man. So are you guys actually? Are you doing like a charter type school? Or are you doing it actually the lessons at home, or how does that look?
So for the oldest, it's easier because there's videos and tests, and that's all kind of automated for his age. I mean, last year kindergarten, first grade this year. He actually started Monday this week, my middle son, and it's lessons, and we're uploading, and last year was pretty easy. It's like,
so your wife's running this, and the grandma.
Yep. So grandma takes the lead. My wife does the majority of the rest of it, and unfortunately, I do the probably least amount. But he's probably at kindergarten. He can probably color better than me.
They learn fast.
Yeah, no, it's fun to watch them grow.
No, we took them out. We took our kids out. I think right before COVID, somewhere around that time. It was not good, and we seen it early. And my kids are older. My youngest is 14. And she was the last one, so we took them out. The two oldest ones, they were about first year of high school type thing, because they're 1 year behind each other. And then so we took them out, we put them in an online high school, and then we did our middle one, Gigi, put her in an online high school. And then Daisy, you probably seen a podcast on that one. When we took her out, it was I think beginning of 8th grade. It was just too much. It's like, man, you guys do not care no more. And and so now she went. What we ended up doing is we put. She's in Great Hearts. So yeah, so it was online Great Hearts, and we couldn't because it was too hard to get her in.
I didn't know Great Hearts had. So my son did Great Hearts in elementary school, and it was a great school.
Yeah,
great school.
Yeah, so they started an online program like maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and so she did 8th grade, finished 8th grade online while she was on the waiting list, and then now she's in the high school.
Okay.
So that kind of works for us. I think it's for her, she loves it because she's an intellect. She likes philosophy, she likes all that stuff, and But yeah, the days of the public school are done for us. Probably
Same.
it's going to be probably for generations to come within my family. Amongst my children. I would think. Unless it changes, I doubt it.
I hope it does.
I don't know. That's a lot of work to unravel.
Yeah.
You got there's a lot of things going on over there. So it's like, what do we have to do for our families? That's why I tell people, like, do what's best for your family. Don't do what's best for someone else. Do what's best for your family. If that means pull them out, pull them out. If that means leave them in because that's what's best, then leave them in. I don't know. Don't complain about it, though. Like, if you're not going to be part of the solution, then stop complaining.
Well, I'm not going to tell anybody how to parent their children. That's their business. And just it's my opinion what I want to do with my children. You can have an opinion about it, but I don't really want to hear about it. So,
I love it.
And just like I'm not going to tell them. So, my kids are in good hands. I know that every single day when I wake up and I go to bed, and that's all that matters to me.
And you're going to be able to teach them, like, better, more efficient, and in less time. Instead of wasting 8 hours at school.
It's like 3.5 to 4 hours.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's 3.5 hours. It's like, it's a whole waste. The whole deal's a waste.
Yeah, my son, he literally worked full time and did high school last year. He worked at Tilly's, in Scottsdale, and he did a whole year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Employee of the month the first 3 months, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I love it.
Ran circles around the other kids.
Yeah, what he gets from his dad, right?
He can grind.
And do you want him to get into the business, or is it kind of his option type thing?
It's his call,
I'm sure he'll be working in the office at some point.
Yeah, he's talked about it. He's got some interest, but I'm not persuading him one way or the other. I don't care what he does.
Yeah.
As long as he does the best he can do it. And it sounds like he wants to go to ASU next year for business and finance.
Mm-hmm.
Finance is probably my weakest spot.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased to hear that.
Right? Yeah, come in and take over that whole division.
I tell you, it's a finance is a gift if you can understand it and manage a company.
Yeah, it's cool that he wants to do that. That he sees, it's like, hey, I can add some value. My kids, same thing as my two girls. They're in a university. One was going to ASU. She was in was it WP Carey?
Yep.
The business.
So she was construction school, right?
No, business.
Oh.
Business one. I think it's WP Carey, or I don't know what it's called. But the business one.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Gigi started going to Grand Canyon University, and so right when she got accepted her first year, Lena switched over to Grand Canyon. So she's doing like the business courses at Jerry Colangelo over there. But it's such a blessing, because I don't know if anyone in my family has went to a university.
That's cool.
Very few have graduated high school, right? And I'm sure many are. Well, actually, I was probably the worst in schooling.
Me too.
But so they're killing it. So like to hear your son want to do it, it's. I like it when the kids are kind of flowing, and he's gonna pass you. He's got a couple more grades. He's already passed you in school, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, he was just like me in school. He's like not a good test taker. You hear somebody finish before you and you get distracted and not. And he was exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then when COVID hit, he was online, and his grades went up. And if you get a question wrong on a test, granted I may not remember this, but I don't think they go through every single question with you and try to understand what was wrong or right.
Mm-hmm.
On the online platform, it's a little bit different. Like if you get something wrong, they take the time to explain it to you. I'd rather have them understand it, maybe even have a second shot at it and understand it, than just having it wrong and you get a grade and you move on.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't. Yeah, exactly right. You don't really learn from it.
No, you don't.
It's more of memorization than actual learning and getting an education. So it's like, can you memorize this problem? It's almost like when you go get a contractor license, they do memorization, at
the prep test.
Yeah, it's like, just
ridiculous.
Remember the answer and the question. That's it. You don't learn anything. You don't learn nothing. The same thing with school. You don't really
when I
learn
took my Florida contractor's test, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, I've taken a whole bunch, and I had an entire checked bag, a suitcase full of books, and it's open book. The test is open book, and you're tabbed and you're highlighted, but the test is so random, and you got to pull from, like, I'm not exaggerating, 15 books probably. I failed an open book test by one question, and I was so mad. Took it a second time, failed by 7 questions, and then I'm like, I guess Florida wasn't meant to be, and then the national test gobbled up Florida, and I automatically qualified. So somehow ended up working in Florida now. But
That's funny.
dude, I was never a good test taker to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of it's just memory.
It's all memory.
It's not necessarily knowledge.
Yeah, because you a lot of it you'll never apply. You know what I mean?
No,
You
I
never
don't really
apply it.
care where a number 4 rebar goes on a masonry wall if that's not what we do as a company.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it even is doesn't even it doesn't even apply for the actual trade or whatever. It's like so generic.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's so old that the you know what they're doing today is much different. You know, maybe they call it a number 4 still, right? But it's not applicable. You know, it's just it's all for money.
Yep.
It's a money grab. So what are some of the biggest challenges, you know, that you face in your business, you know, as far as, you know, employees, finances, projects, you know, because, you know, like for us, we go through challenges. For people out there that are, you know, that are in business, they go through challenges. Some people don't understand why they're actually going through the challenge, especially when it's their first time going through it. You know what I mean? So what are some of your biggest challenges?
Well, I think over the last couple of years, the challenges have all changed. You know, pre-COVID was, I'm not going to call it easy to do business, but I think it was easier to do business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, COVID hit, the Great Resignation came. I mean, in 5 years, we had lost 1 person voluntarily in 5 years. Like, I was proud of that, you know? And then the Great Resignation coming, and I'm like, that's not going to hit us. And then, you know, people started getting silly offers, and they took them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they understand their needs better than I understand it sometimes when you get numbers.
Short term.
Almost all of them have tried coming back, but, you know, the grass isn't always greener, but, you know, that it changed the whole culture of employee and business, you know, and the different generations has been I think I've done a pretty good job in the last year, really putting intentional time into understanding everybody's, you know, what they need to be successful in their lives at work and personally, you know, by generation, because it's certainly different. Mm-hmm. And so just having a blend of understanding and empathy is, I think, you need more empathy now than I think you've ever needed, because some people went through some really tough stuff the last few years. And, you know, even today, you know, if you could afford a house a year and a half ago, but you were just waiting. I mean, there's no chance you're buying a house these days, you know? And so I think a lot of the middle class kind of evaporated. Mm-hmm. And I think that's terrible. And I don't see it improving. But, you know, I think we pay well. I think we have great benefits. And that used to be all you needed, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we had a great culture, don't get me wrong. But, you know, the Great Resignation, you know, we had somebody swoop in, a startup company, and they took a whole team. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was totally shocked. Couldn't believe it. And then, you know, try to recover from that overnight, you know, it's not easy, right? It puts you in a little scramble. So, you know, and then all of a sudden you couldn't get materials and, you know, on the job sites, and you couldn't get labor, and nobody was showing up. And, you know, working in different states had different expectations for COVID and procedures. And I mean, just even 4 months ago, we signed a deal in Los Angeles, and they wanted all of our workers on the job site to be vaccinated. I can't.
Yeah, and you're like, I thought COVID was done.
I can't I can't force people to do that. You know, I'm not willing to even do that. So I said, hey, I guess we're not doing this project. And they went back and got an exemption, but that was in their financing to this day. So I don't know. And then, you know, working in Tennessee, it's like, it's all good. Arizona was pretty open, you know, Florida was open. pretty easy to get stuff done in those states. But
Yeah.
you know, when materials and labor became, what was that? Probably the fall of 21 was probably the heat of it. You know, when you're locked into contracts, that got challenging. You know,
Yeah.
so it's all in the rearview mirror now. But that was some challenging times.
We got whacked on a few jobs for material increases. We're under contract. You know, I probably lost $400,000 or $500,000 for material increases. You know.
Yeah, I won't drop a number, but I finished a couple projects that went well, and then I had to write checks. Wasn't much fun. I've never done that in my career. I mean, never had to. You know, I mean, you could count on historical data, and then all of a sudden, overnight during the pandemic, historical data was wiped to clean. Like you couldn't count on anything. It was changing by the week almost in some of these things.
Because like you said, you had an increase in materials, and you couldn't get the materials, and then the guys were bouncing around, and then the general labor just started going up real fast. You know, now you're giving people raises 2-3 times a year. Well, for us,
yeah.
You know, I don't know if it was the same for you.
Yeah,
guys.
no, we went in. You know, usually, you know, annual increase, do a review, and then people would walk in your office almost every month. Hey, I got this insane offer. You know, I don't want to leave, but you know, will you match it? It's like, you know, at first I'm like, all right. And then it kept happening. I'm like, we're not matching it. So,
Yeah.
you know, we'll give you good reference.
Yeah.
Those are hard decisions to make. And
yeah, because you got to fill that spot.
yeah. And, you know, turnover is expensive. So, glad to say that that's in the rearview mirror too, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to knock on wood here, but haven't had that happen in a while.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited for 24. Just to see because COVID was just, it really, we had our biggest years, but our worst years, these last couple of years. And they rolled over from 20 to 21 to 22. And we're wrapping up what was left. You know what I mean? Because these large projects, you're in the middle of them, start of bid and contract 2-3 years.
Yep.
You know, so we're like wrapping up some of these nightmares. I'm like, man, these are terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had our best year in 2020. And even though when COVID hit, it was the scariest thing. Because like we work in occupied spaces. I thought the world was over for us. I thought we were going out of business because we can't be around people, you know, huh? And so other than probably 75-day hiatus right then, we, you know, ton of communication, ton of planning, a lot of collaboration, and we just kept going. We had a great year 20, which was shocking. And then 21, revenue was way up, but we had our worst year performance-wise, you know, because we got burned on some materials and labor and fixed some contracts. So, you know, we're big boys. We finished it, and thankful that we're still chugging along.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's a testament to what your company's capable of doing, you know. So I got another question, right? So, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned? You know, so we know what you've been through, but what did you actually learn from it? You know, like we know, you hire better and these things, but what is like that true principle that you've learned through these ups and downs?
I've been burned a few times, and that's just part of business. You know, I think the one thing you can't combat against is narcissism. I agree. I think narcissism is not curable, and I think in the 2 times it hit me, I was completely blind to it and believed everything and anything and went with it. And those are the 2 biggest things that ever burned me. And so really understanding who's on the other side of the conversation is critical. Mm-hmm. I'll trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you person. Some people are the opposite. They'll learn to trust you.
Yeah.
You got to gain their trust. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to live my life that way. You know, I love trusting. I love empowering. I love watching people grow. Mm-hmm. The only thing you got to look out for is narcissism.
Yeah. And I think
because narcissists are they're dangerous because they don't know it.
Well, and you can, it's kind of like, it's hidden. It's, because they're, you know, it's not something that's out there. Like, you can see a drug addict, you can see these certain things, and it's hidden. It's the same thing as, I think I have the same issue as you. Is sometimes the guys will say I'm too nice, and then I usually get screwed by someone really close, an upper level management, that's usually the line, and it's someone I try to help, and it never fails. It's like, and then I think to myself, and I start to say, well, do I just become this big old, a-hole that I just like, and then I'm like, well, I don't want to be that though, because I want people to trust me, and like, I want to be able to keep my word. I don't want to be, start yelling at people all the time and just cut them off. And, I can be, I have been when I was younger. Right. But I'm like, I don't want to be that today, but I totally get it. Yeah. Cause I usually get burned by someone. It's usually someone that works very extremely close to me in a position, and they usually whack me. And I'm like, and then everyone around says, I told you. I'm like,
so that exact same thing happened to me. So after each one of them, we're separated, I had people come out of the word work. Well, I didn't want to tell you. I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And so they all know now, if they ever see me in a circumstance,
say something.
I would tell them. I mean, from time to time, I'll call a business owner we do business with and just say, hey, I'm only calling you because I would want you to call me. But you have a project, you have a person on this project that I don't think represents your company or your values very well. And if you want some examples, I'm willing to share that. Otherwise, you can tell me to pound sand.
Yeah.
And every time they'll engage. And then they'll say, thank you for calling. And I would expect them to call me if there was the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Not to say, and it has. So, I don't know, man. Like, life's too short, I don't want to have a bunch of headaches in my life, and I just want to do business the right way and help others. And it's fun to watch people grow. And, the bigger your company grows doesn't mean it's a better company. I mean, this year we've taken less business on purpose just to kind of train and develop,
Dial it in.
We brought it together. We purposely have been turning down work, pulled out of one state, and we're just going to train and develop. And that's what we've been doing all year. We've been focusing on that, and we're going to be better for it.
Yeah.
I think we're going into some challenging times, and now's the time to really invest into your go-getters.
Buckle down.
Yeah. Because we want to go through it with them.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think like, in order to be, successful in life and in business, and you have to be trusting. You have to trust people,
Trust but verify.
Yeah. What was that on? What is that on?
That's from Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm too trusting. I'm not a micromanager, and that's caught me a couple times too. But
so when you say verify, you mean like, make sure, just kind of double check them, check on them a little bit.
Fact check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure they're not full of crap.
Yep.
People are full of crap.
Well, some people are really good. It's like if you tell a joke. I mean, if you've got 10 people in this room, you might tell a joke 10 different ways, depending on how you think they're going to react.
Yeah.
And people sugarcoat data.
Yeah.
They don't just tell you, hey, I screwed up, lost $25,000 on this. And the ones that do tell you that, they'll say, but here's what I did to rectify that and moving forward. Like, everybody messes up. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm a little too trusting. So, but we recently started using a EOS operating system. I don't know if you're familiar with it. The Entrepreneur Operating System. It's called EOS. Totally recommend. And it really it's a software to keep everybody accountable. There's nowhere to hide. If there's an issue, it's vetted out, and every department in our company uses it, and it's pretty cool. You track your goals. Yeah.
So, like, are you putting the processes in there, or is it more? What is it?
We hired an implementer through EOS to kind of go on it. This is year 2. We're in it, and now first year was kind of more just leadership team, kind of getting to know it and understand it and set company goals. And you focus on your core values. And at the end of the day, you do everything based on your core values. You hire with your core values. You fire with your core values. You right person, right seat, or right person, wrong seat. A lot of times, you'll have the right person, but maybe they're in the wrong seat. And it all gets vetted out. And if there's an issue, all companies got issues. You put it on the table, and then you have quarterly goals. You got annual goals. Everybody's tagged on what they're doing when it's due. It's either on track or off track. It's not, you don't walk into a meeting and say, how are the kids? So every single person have, it takes 30 minutes. You jump right into it. Here's the agenda. It's called the L10 meeting once a week. It's your top 10 things for the week. We had ours this morning at 9, and so did all of our other departments. Pushes down.
So is this basically like a growth type software? Does it have anything to do with the business you're actually doing?
It can be for any business.
So, does it interject the actual inner workings, or is it more of a growth type thing?
No, it's just a growth and accountability platform. Okay. We grew quite a bit and probably too fast. And so, trying to unwind that isn't that easy.
I know.
And so, the software has been incredibly helpful to us because we identified things that were glaring that, sometimes you identify issue and you're like, that's low hanging fruit. I'll put in the back.
Yeah.
No, just go knock this out, and that software has really helped us as a company. So I'd recommend
Entrepreneur Operating System.
Yep.
I'm going to look at it.
Yeah. Let me know. I got a great implementer for it too.
Yeah. I think we need it. I mean, we're starting to scale back too. And just cleaning house. And I've probably been doing it for like a year. And I want to, as I build back, I need a system, a good system, because I haven't had a good system.
I was kind of against it because I don't like change. Who does? And I love it, honestly. I got a dashboard. I can log in anytime. I can see where things are at. Every department's got their own goals.
And everybody's growing.
Well, but everybody gets input, and so everybody has a voice.
Yeah.
And you can agree to disagree, but I mean, if people get on the table, it's cool. Cause we don't have a workplace where you got to keep it in and don't say anything. No, we prefer you say anything. And if something's not in line with our core values,
yeah,
it's on the table. And if somebody's not in line with those core values, they're probably gone.
So what are your core values?
Well, my favorite one is driven to kick ass.
Driven to kick ass.
I think that one's the only one that matters, but yeah, own it.
Now, did you guys name these, or did that the guy?
So we did. The leadership team got together an all day thing with the implementer, and you go through all these processes to kind of, narrow down your core values. And we have 5, and I'm told you're on a blank because I'm sitting here and you put me on the spot. But
so you got driven to kick ass. You got own it.
Own it. Yeah.
What else? We'll just do those 2. That's cool. Those are good ones.
Bill. That's embarrassing.
You can send it to me. We'll put it on when we post it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. But every decision you make as a company is based on your core values.
Hey, you live them, you bleed them. Yeah. So what, you forgot about them? They're in you. That's funny. No, I like it. What's something like that cost? I'm sure. Did they go by your income?
No. The implementer's like, I think it's like $5,000 a session to have them come. So we do a quarterly. Your first year you do one monthly, and then you get down to quarterly, and then you do an annual. So a little more upfront, but it's a lot of work upfront. Yeah. I mean, and people get voted off the island, like to see who's going to be, because they don't. If you have a leadership group, let's say of 20 people, if you're in a huge company,
yeah.
Well, this system would never work because it only allows basically 4 to 5 people. Period. And there's a finance person. They call it the visionary. So I'm the visionary. I'm the guy in the corner who chases shiny objects. You got to have an implementer for everything. Finance usually has a seat. Business development has a seat, and legal or operations has a seat.
Oh, that would kind of work for us.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I
love it. All right. So what do you got exciting coming up?
Oh man, I'm trying to actually catch my breath a little bit. Over the years I've been, making some investments and you kind of start doing them, you come back, sprinkle some water on them, leave, come back, sprinkle, and all of a sudden they start growing, but all mine start growing at the same time. And so you're, oh man, it's so busy. And so I'm trying to actually kind of reel it in. I think last couple of years with the kids, our kids didn't even know how to get out of, COVID when you got a 1-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting in a car ride was like totally not normal to her,
Yeah. Yeah. Cause
so
you're
like,
stuck.
Yeah. So I just kind of look back. It's like, I don't need to do all this stuff, and so got a good sustainable company, everybody in the company knows I got a January 29th of 2029 is on the calendar of my last day. I have an email address at the company. And, so we're working forward and working towards a succession plan for the team to kind of step up and carry the company on. Yeah. I'll still be, I'll still have an office. I'll still do business development.
But you want to be
and
there.
Mentoring. But I don't want to get 250 emails a day anymore. Yeah.
No, you shouldn't have to. I like it. Yeah.
So that's my biggest goal. It's January 29th of 2020. I turned 50.
And you have some good team members that have been there for a while. And so what about your club? You have a club. You built a club. This is the club you didn't give me the drywall contract.
Yeah, we built out a club downstairs of the office, and we got bored during COVID when we started working on it, and it's a really sweet space. But our goal is to start getting some speakers coming in and have some more kind of leadership, really team. So I've been in peer groups for the last few years. I've been in Vistage since probably 2018. I moved to Nashville for a couple of years. I was in Vistage out there, so I just came back, and I'm not anything currently, but I desire to be, and I love the camaraderie and just kind of helping out and being helped as well and getting some ideas and keeping me
networking
and just being challenged. You realize there's a lot of people that have a lot worse problems than you, and sometimes a lot less. And you just all kind of rely on each other, which is really cool because. As a business owner, you live in a glass house. Everybody's watching what you're doing.
And judging.
There's nowhere to hide. Everybody's judging. Everybody's got an opinion. And, that's not an easy place to be. But if you're with other, as in a CEO group, they're all in the same spot, And so it's kind of nice to vent a little bit because I'm not going to go to complain to anybody. Who's going to listen to me? Mm-hmm. But these are people that have and need help just like I do every day. We all got our own problems, so I really enjoyed that. So looking forward to getting some
So you're going to start something?
Yeah. We're going to get a moderator. We're going to probably do one speaker a month and kind of rotate it, whether, one's in the morning, one's in the afternoon, and we're going to probably pick 2 days of the week to kind of alternate it. And then we got there's a podcast room there. Huge conference area. There's a theater, some other stuff we put in, so people be able to. This is all
down in that area.
Yeah, so everybody be able to kind of, if you need to have an important meeting, you can come use the conference room. So just kind of a resource as well.
But it was like a third of the building downstairs or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably 4,000 or 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's like a half or a third, about a third, right, of the floor, first floor.
Yeah, about a third.
Yeah. That's cool. And so you're going to start this group and have speakers. I like it. And it's what's the name going to be called?
So far, I think it's going to be Rise for a Better Arizona or for a Greater Arizona. I think it's a 501c7. So it's a nonprofit social group. It's all set up. Unfortunately, it's been on idle for a while because everybody's just catching their breath. But I think it's time to hit go.
Would this be a buy-in?
I don't know. I think there's gonna be some founding members, but I'd love to see some groups of. I don't think it needs to be all CEOs. I think if anybody's interested in growing and has the desire and their actions speak to that, because actions speak louder than words, I'll find a group for them.
Yeah.
I had a guy come in today in the office. He's been with us probably 7-8 months, and he pinged me last month. He goes, "Hey man, can I get 30 minutes with you?" Sure. Came in. We talked for an hour. I had a fascinating conversation with this guy. I was really impressed with him, and he's like, "How many people come in and do this with you?" I'm like, "Anybody that asks." He goes, "How many?" I'm like, I think you're the only one this year.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Everybody's intimidated.
I don't know why they would be. You know, like
There's
I'm
the
out.
boss. You're the
Everybody's
boss.
got my cell phone number. I'm out in front of everybody. We do not meet and greets. We do lunch and learns all the time. I got a Traeger on the deck. I mean, I smoke 5-6 tri-tips, and I cook and I feed everybody. I mean, because it's like family, right?
Yeah.
Food and family are the two things that bring everybody together.
You're gonna make everyone's gonna be. They're gonna watch this and make me cook for them.
I'm telling you, you should. Tomorrow we're catering, and we got some burros. We took the easy street. It's
Okay.
too hot to be grilling this, in the sun right now.
Smuggy. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I love that.
That's cool. I'd love to get involved somehow if there's a spot for me, if there could be. But yeah, because
I'm on search for a moderator. So if you know anybody, I'm all ears because it's going to be a commitment, and happy to pay that person.
So you want someone to kind of work the whole thing, right?
Yeah, someone that brings it out of you. You know, that's the best part of being in a peer group. Like you push each other to be almost where you're in the position of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You got to push your limits, and that's the best part of it.
Well, that's what draws. You want to draw it out of people, and then you're giving. So someone like we have something that someone else needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have something that I need, I have something that someone else needs, and we're not talking money. We're talking wisdom, intellect. We're talking ideas. We're talking issues. We're talking, overcoming something that someone else is going through.
Oh man, there's legal issues. I mean, it's just all over the spectrum. But like, I remember one of the first peer group meetings I went to, someone was telling us about their new onboarding system, and I'm like, it's brilliant. They had the whole first week. They had a schedule for what they were going to do, and really it was like, sit with this person for an hour, like really get to understand kind of everybody in the office, kind of what they do.
Yeah.
And then you can, put together how it all works, know, and, there was lunches with different departments every day for the first week. Like it was a great idea, but like, if I wasn't sitting in that room, I would have never known about it. And we've implemented some of that too now, but, people are on the flip side. Some people are suing their business partner or being sued by the business partner, and lawsuits aren't easy. I mean, there's good days in lawsuits and there's bad days in lawsuits, and you're a fish out of water. That's why I'm not a big guy at conflict. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I could probably try to press firmly on, but what's the point? Just move on and keep a smile on your face.
Yep. Stop the bleeding real quick and keep it running.
Life's too short, man.
Yeah, there's plenty of other things out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. A lot of people worry about their competitors, and I don't. Are you a Simon Sinek fan?
I like Simon Sinek.
Yeah, man. So I'm a huge fan of his.
He's good.
And he, you're at the end of the day, he's like, listen, business isn't like a football game.
I feel like you had him at one of your events or something.
Yeah, we hired him in 2020.
I remember.
It was January 2020. Yeah, we rented out the Beverly Hills Hilton and had like 200 people there.
All right.
Simon brought his whole team. We did the workshops with Simon, and then Simon as the keynote, and we had a happy hour after. And man, I was like a little kid, at a baseball game trying to get an autograph, but it was Simon Sinek.
And you paid for him. You're still trying to talk.
Wasn't cheap.
I know.
Yeah. So, but he's like, business isn't like you're a football team. So if you're the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, somebody's going to go head to head to win that game.
Yeah.
Well, if you're construction company A and construction company B, you're not going head to head. Like, it's the infinite game. Like you're just there to continue to do projects and stay open and have hopefully where the generations or my kids and my kids' kids want to be involved in,
Mm-hmm.
And that made a lot of sense to me. So, I only focus on really, you screw something up, reputational risk, that's going to be on you, and that's going to hurt you worse than any competitor can do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big Simon Sinek guy.
Yeah, he does use that infinite word a lot.
Yep.
I love it. So listen, it's been an honor to have you on the show. I have a lot of respect for you. It's hearing your story. It fuels me, because I got so much more to do, right? And I'm just glad you came here, and I'm happy for everything you're doing. And let me know if you need help with anything. I'm here.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was fun. I've been kind of dying to get on a podcast in a while. It's been about a year since I've done one, so this is a good time. I enjoy this. I like that you're doing it. You know, you geek out on leadership stuff like I do. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, you ever got any ideas you want to collaborate? I'm all in.
So there it is. Justin Krueger, icon, national, taking over, doing his best. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Be blessed.